Imagine a sunny day in San Jose, California. Young Jeannette Tamayo, a bright and bubbly fourth grader, skips home from school. But as she steps inside, her world turns upside down. An intruder has broken in. The following moments are a nightmare screams, the struggle of her family, witnessed by a terrified Jeannette. In a desperate act, the attacker snatches Jeannette, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives. Jeannette opens the front door, her smile fading as she sees the chaos inside. Her mother and brother are struggling with a masked man. "Mom, what's happening?" The intruder spots Jeannette and lunges at her. Her mother screams, reaching out, but the man grabs Jeannette and drags her away. Panic erupts in the neighborhood. Police swarm the scene, finding her mother and brother injured but alive. Hope for Jeannette dwindles with each passing hour. Detectives scramble, piecing together a timeline from fragmented.
With their only witnesses gone, the police had barely any information to work with. From the get-go, they knew that Jeannette had been kidnapped and that someone broke into the house, cut the phone cords, and attacked them before leaving with her. But other than that, all they had was the crime scene. One of the first things that I did notice in the garage was a lot of blood. I knew at that point this was a very violent crime. You start thinking, are we gonna bring her home alive? Heather Randall, the detective assigned to the case, initially thought that maybe some of the blood around the kitchen and the garage belonged to Jeannette. As her forensic team were grabbing samples and examining the scene, she also called in handlers and bloodhounds to get the search started as soon as possible. But sadly, this didn't lead them very far, since neither Jeannette nor her attacker were injured during the initial attack. As this was happening, she also noticed a security camera in the driveway of one of the neighbors. By reviewing the footage it captured in the last hour, they were able to establish a rough timeline of the events. 30 minutes before Jeannette arrived, her attacker smashed her bedroom window and burglarized the house. He then went back to his car and waited for Jeannette to arrive. Afterward, he followed her and knocked at the door. He then assaulted her in the bedroom for almost 30 minutes, at which point they headed to the garage. Meanwhile, Paul and Rosalia made it to the house. In the last bit of the recording, we can clearly hear Rosalia and Paul screaming for help. "Call the police! Call the police!" But Randall was mainly interested in one particular moment, here when the attacker's car was right in front of the camera. In California, it is mandatory to have either a name, a license plate number, or phone number tied to the perpetrator to issue a statewide Amber Alert. It's heartbreaking. You have the evidence right there. It's so close and yet you need just a little bit clear video. So before she was able to fall back on Paul and Rosalia, she alerted the media, hoping that, even without an Amber Alert, maybe the population would mobilize themselves anyway and spread the word about her disappearance. Together with her department, they got service helicopters in the air, with loudspeakers calling out her name, and gave press conference after press conference, just to make sure Jeannette's name was on everyone's mind in San Jose. It puts 1,000 more sets of eyes out on the street, and we knew it was extremely important to push the information out to the public, give them a picture of Jeannette, make sure that flyers were flooded throughout the city. Along the way, Jeannette kept mental notes of every turn they made, hoping she would be able to find her way home if she ever escaped. After a short ride, the car suddenly stopped. The man drove into the garage of a large white house. He opened the door, picked her up, and carried her inside. There he went up the stairs to the second floor and opened a locked door. Behind it was a very small room with a TV, a little window, a bed and a bathroom. He threw her on the ground and approached her with a menacing look. After each assault, he would clinch her wrist to the shower head using a pair of handcuffs, run the water, and leave her there for a while. Like, I started to break down and cry, and that was my only safe place, was the shower, because every time he left me in the shower was when he didn't touch me, he wouldn't hurt me, or he wouldn't rape me. The next morning, the aftermath of the kidnapping took its toll. While the rest of the Tamayo family gathered around Rosalia in San Jose, The police asked some of the family members to take part in the public address. In the morning, he was watching the news again. My cousin was talking to me through the news. She was saying, "Jeannette, if you can hear us, just know that be strong girl. We're looking for you." She was like, "Just don't give up." That gave me hope. That gave me the strength. Either I'm going to fight to get out of here or die trying.
Witness accounts and grainy security footage. They have a description of the attacker, a tall, shadowy figure, but no sign of Jeannette. Fear hangs thick in the air. 3 agonizing days crawl by. The relentless search continues, fueled by a community united in hope. Then on the 3rd day, a glimmer emerges from an unexpected source. A Little Caesars employee answers a call. "Little Caesars, how can I help you?" "I'd like to order a pizza, please." "Sure, what's your address?" Jeannette hesitates, then gives an address. It's Jeannette using a hidden phone card, a stroke of genius in the face of despair. How did a 9-year-old girl manage this? Here's the interesting part. Jeannette, it turned out, was a fan of true crime shows with her brother. These shows often depicted criminals being caught because of seemingly innocuous details left behind. This planted a seed of hope in Jeannette's mind, a belief that even in the darkest of times, a clever mind could find a way out. The significance of the pizza call doesn't escape the police. They recognize it as a lifeline thrown from the darkness. Every word from Jeannette is a potential clue. The phone call. Jeannette is whispering into the phone. "I can't talk long, but listen. The street light outside is flickering. It makes a weird buzzing sound." "Okay, Jeannette, that's helpful. Can you tell us anything else?" This seemingly insignificant detail about the flickering light becomes a crucial piece of the puzzle. Jeannette, remembering a detail from her surroundings, is trying to build a mental map for the police. The officer understands. They ask her specific questions about sounds, smells, and anything she can remember. Each answer is another piece of the puzzle falling into place. This highlights the incredible power of observation. Even in the face of immense fear, Jeannette's sharp mind held on to details that could prove crucial. It's a reminder that sometimes the key to solving a case lies in the seemingly insignificant. Armed with Jeannette's information and witness descriptions, detectives narrow down their search area. The flickering streetlight detail becomes the linchpin. They stake out neighborhoods with similar malfunctioning lights. The tension builds with each passing moment. Police cars are parked discreetly in a neighborhood. Officers are on high alert, scanning the area for any sign of Jeannette. "There, that's the light she described. Move in, move in!" The officers rush towards a house. The suspect tries to flee, but the police chase him down and apprehend him. Finally, they locate the house. With a coordinated raid, the police burst inside and found a terrified Jeannette, unharmed but shaken. The kidnapper is apprehended. Relief washes over the officers, knowing they've not only saved a child, but also put a dangerous criminal behind bars. Police enter the house, guns drawn. "Jeannette, we're here to take you home." Jeannette runs to the officers, tears streaming down her face. News of the rescue spreads like wildfire. Jeannette, hailed as a hero, becomes a symbol of courage and resilience. She's reunited with her overjoyed family, their bond strengthened by the ordeal. The community breathes a collective sigh of relief, forever changed by the events. Thank you for watching, and remember, even in the darkest times, there is always hope. Stay safe and stay aware. See you next time.